Welcome to the Vida Spiritual Connection from Vida Spiritual Learning Center, where you are empowered to create the life you desire. Our guiding belief is by valuing and empowering all, we inspire a joyous and fulfilling life. At Vida, we study and practice the teachings of the science of mind and spirit founded by Dr. Ernest Holmes. Each week, we present an inspiring spiritual message, a guided meditation, and time together via Zoom for fellowship and prayer with a practitioner. Now, here is today's message.
Hello, it's good to be with you on this episode of the Vida Spiritual Connection. I'm Gary Takesian. I am a Science of Mind practitioner here at Vida Spiritual Learning Center, and it's my honor to bring you today's message. So over the past few weeks, we have been talking about living everyday wonder as it relates to finances. And today I would like to talk about changing our relationship with money. You know, over all of our various relationships in life, how we relate to money seems to always be at or near the top of the list. For many of us, the ongoing financial demands of everyday living in the 21st century seem never-ending. Even with what we consider as the basics of food, shelter, and clothing, nowadays that can require some shuffling of our priorities just to make ends meet. We can sometimes experience fear or anxiety as we live through those times when there seems to be more month than there is money, or when we have to make do with something or situation rather than experiencing what we would truly prefer. And I believe this is where the Science of Mind teaching can offer some insights on our relationship with money. We have a saying in Science of Mind, how you do your money is how you do your life. And this invites us to take a look into our thinking about money and to notice that it is a reflection of how we are living our daily life. So ask yourself, is my current financial situation serving me well? If the answer is less than a positive yes, then what thoughts and beliefs about money are we holding back? And what can we do about it? The Science of Mind teaching is based on the idea that we live in a cause and effect world, and that the focus of our attention is causative in that it tends to bring into our awareness more of what holds our attention. This is the essence of the law of attraction. Like attracts like. Ernest Holmes wrote in his small book, Creative Mind and Success, every person is surrounded by a thought atmosphere. This mental atmosphere is the direct result of thought, which in turn becomes the direct reason for the cause of that which comes into our lives. A popular New Thought saying sums it up simply like this: what you think about, you bring about. In Science of Mind, we learn that the creative power of the infinite universe is impartial. It always says yes to us, no matter what we think or say. If I say, I'm healthy and prosperous, the universe says, yes, you are. On the other hand, if I say, I'm poor and a failure, the universe will also agree with us. And the result is usually more of the same. In the Science of Mind text, Ernest Holmes puts it this way: if we could take a picture of our objective circumstances and a picture of our subjective mentality, we would find them to be identical, for one is the cause of the other. One is the image, and the other is the reflection of that image. The crux of our external financial situation, then, hangs on our internal thinking about money. So, given this internal-external connection, how do we affect a change in our relationship to money? A good place to start is another idea that Ernest Holmes shared with us in his Science of Mind text, and he writes, The future is not predicated on the past. What he's getting at here is that regardless of what may have happened in the past, we are not obligated or required to carry forward any beliefs about what is possible in our future. What happens as we go forward is literally a clean whiteboard upon which we can write whatever we want. It may be challenging at first, but as we let go of the past, we embrace the future. And I like this quote from the American humorist Will Rogers. He says, "Never let yesterday use up too much of today." Clearly, though, reflecting on our past financial situation is necessary at times so that we can learn from our mistakes and not repeat them. But it's also about realizing that we are not chained to the past. Creating a financial future to suit your current needs is truly liberating. And I'm not suggesting that changing the ways we interact with money will be either quick or easy. Ernest Holmes never led anyone to believe that the science of mind was a get-rich-quick scheme. But this teaching does offer us a solid method to take control and improve our lives. Back in the 1940s and 50s, Ernest began his weekly radio program by saying, "There is a power for good in the universe, and we can use it." What better place to apply that power in our lives than to our finances? It is there for us to apply to any aspect of our lives, not just money. Changing our relationship to money, though, and replacing those old beliefs that constrict the flow, they can change our whole outlook on life. Now you might say, "Yeah, but you don't know my family. You don't know my circumstances, my work environment, or lack thereof." That's true. I don't. But what I do know is that no external forces or circumstances can control what you alone think and feel. Yeah, you may feel outside pressures. We all do. They may be coming from a variety of people and places. You can't control what obstacles the world puts in our path, but you can and must take responsibility for how you respond to those forces. In the practice of science of mind, we don't learn what to think. We learn how to think. We are taught that we alone are the authors of our own lives. No one else thinks our thoughts for us. There's only one consciousness thinking in our thoughts, and that's us. One of the most important concepts that we learn is that we are always at choice in every situation, no matter what. There's always a moment that a little space exists right in between a stimulus and our response to it. I call it the gap of mindfulness. This is the brief moment in time where we can intervene in our flow of thought before any automatic response even enters our awareness. And in that gap of mindfulness, we have the opportunity to make a conscious choice how best to respond. I point this out because of the many old beliefs we carry around with us about money, and the importance of realizing that as those old beliefs surface, we don't have to be bound by them as we have in the past. There is no absolute way things have to be. Remember, we are the authors of our lives, and there is always another way. It all begins with what we believe to be possible for us today, in this current moment. This is where the future is not predicated on the past frees us from that past and gives us hope for creating a better future. And since no one else can live our lives for us, any change to our future is based first on our own thoughts and beliefs about ourselves, and then on how we interact with the outside world. And this is especially true when it comes to money. Like all life, money is a flow. We see money flow to us in the form of various income sources and flow out as we buy things and pay our bills. When we live in fear about money, we constrict the flow. Being anxious over finances blocks our creative power. When we live in a more healthy relationship with money, the flow is much easier and more natural. And for those of us who study the science of mind, of course we realize that like everything else in life, there is a spiritual aspect to finances as well. I can imagine that for some of us who are new to this teaching, connecting the dots between money and spirituality may seem at first like a bridge too far, or perhaps one that's a little too long. But it's really not that difficult to see. When we embrace the idea that we live in an abundant universe instituted by God. Ernest also taught that our abundance is only limited by what we can embody, that which we can feel and truly own as ours. I'd like to offer 4 steps that we can follow to begin the process of manifesting the finances we desire. And not just for finances, but for really any areas of our lives where we would like to make changes. The 4 steps are: envision, embody, believe, and accept. The envision step is about creating a vivid mental picture of what you desire, spending time with it, seeing it in detail as you would want it to be. And it's important that what we envision fits in with our lives today, consistent with who we see ourselves to be. For many of us, me included, having $1 million suddenly show up in my life is not ultimately impossible, but it's not in line with my current experience. Sure, I could win the lottery, or maybe some long-lost relative could leave me $1 million in their will. But I'm not counting on that to happen. That's not to say that it's impossible for God, or that God is somehow limited. That limitation is only in my awareness of my life, as I see it today. I have found more success in manifesting things that enhance my current circumstances. Rather than envisioning a specific dollar amount, I envision successfully meeting my everyday needs and desires without fear and anxiety. Once we have that envision, embodying is all about feeling what we desire with every fiber of our being, seeing ourselves enjoying what we desire as a natural part of who we are, feeling it in our bones, so to speak, owning it as ours. So envisioning our desire in the context of who we are today makes embodying that desire fit us perfectly, like a pair of comfortable shoes. And once we have envisioned and embodied, then believing is truly having the faith that what we envision and embody is not only possible, but is on its way right now. There are 2 quotes from the Christian New Testament that come to mind. The Master Jesus said, "Let it be done just as you have believed it would." And he also said, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move." It's all about having a strong belief and an unshakable faith. Now, you might say that after the envisioning, embodying, and believing, why is there another step? Well, I think that accepting is really, really important. Because when we accept, we are recognizing and receiving our good. And it's also recommended that we do so with a joyous and grateful heart, and not be missing it by looking for somewhere else. And the best example of that I can think of is this old story about the man who's standing on his front porch in the torrential rains, The water's rising. It's, flooding all around. And neighbors come by in this rowboat, and they say, "Jump in. We're going to get out of here." And he says, "No, I'm counting on God to save me." And they shrug and head on. And a while later, the water's up to his knees on the porch now. And about this time, a motor launch comes by. And the folks say, "Jump in. We're going to get you out of here." And he says, "No, God's going to save me." And they shrug also and take off. And by now the water is climbing way up, and he has to get up on his roof. And he's standing there in the torrential rain, and all of a sudden here comes this helicopter with a ladder hanging down. And they call down to him, "Hang on to the ladder, we'll get you out of here." And he says, "No, I'm waiting because God is going to save me." Well, as you might have imagined, especially if you heard the story before, the water rises, he can't swim for very long, and he ends up drowning. And when he gets to heaven, he looks at God and he says, "God, I counted on you to save me." And I can just see the eyes rolling as God says, "Dude, I sent you a rowboat. Then I sent you a motor launch. And finally, I sent you a helicopter. What more could you want me to do?" And so we can't be missing our good because we're waiting for something else. We must stay open to the possibility that what shows up may not be exactly how we envisioned it, but that it will nonetheless meet our needs. Now, while Ernest tells us to be detailed in our vivid picture of what we desire, it's also important to let the universe do its work in manifesting our good. And I'm reminded of a Rolling Stones song that I think really points this out well. It says, "You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you'll find that you get what you need." So in our quest to enhance our financial picture, I think it's important to remember, clearly envision what you desire, seeing it in the context of your life today. Embody that vision by feeling the joy of manifesting that desire and owning it completely. Believe, having the unwavering faith that what you envision and embody is not only possible, but on its way right now. Accept your good, recognizing and receiving it with joy in your heart. As we go about manifesting a better financial picture, remember to do so with a peaceful confidence that the universe will indeed respond. So I'll leave you with our affirmation of the day, but this time it's going to be followed by some words of wisdom from one of the great prosperity ministers and teachers, Catherine Ponder, who at the age of 95 is still active in the New Thought movement. The lines she wrote add a beautiful feeling tone to the end of any affirmation, so I'll add it after today's. "I trust and live in the infinite flow of abundant good, in an easy and relaxed manner, in a healthy and positive way, in its own perfect time, for the highest good of all." And for now, I am complete. And so it is, and now it is. Amen.
Did you know that giving is a spiritual practice that keeps you in the abundant flow of life? If today's message inspires you, consider supporting Vida Spiritual Learning Center. Know that your financial contributions support this show, our Learning Center, and the Science of Mind philosophy. Thank you for your contribution. Now it's time for meditation.
Breathe normally and naturally. This is our time. your time. Our time to simply be present, to be in the fullness of this moment, to be in the awareness of the breath. Breathing normally and naturally, we simply bring our awareness as if it were a flashlight to our breath, and we just bring our awareness to the breath, recognizing the inhale and the exhale. Just noticing that breath as we breathe in, how the diaphragm fills, and as we breathe out, how it empties. Bringing that awareness to that breath. You just recognize where the inhale becomes the exhale, and the exhale becomes the inhale. And for the next few minutes, we just allow the natural surrounding sounds and a little bit of music behind us just simply be the soundtrack to our meditation. And when we find that our thoughts or our attention has been hijacked, we simply bring it back to the breath, to the inhale and the exhale. Just notice if you have drifted off somewhere else, and gently bring your attention back to your breath. Back to that in-breath and the out-breath. the in-breath and the out-breath. We remember the in-breath and the out-breath. Now let's go deeper. As I count down from 5 to 1, with each breath, just find yourself going deeper. 5, 4, going deeper. 3, even deeper than you were before. 2, 1. Allow yourself to drift. And as you hear my voice, we're prepared to emerge from meditation. I'm going to count from 1 to 5. When I reach 5, you will be fully alert, feeling refreshed and wonderful. 1, coming out slowly now. 2, 3, at the count of 5, you will be fully alert, refreshed, and feeling renewed. 4, 5. Wide awake, feeling renewed, refreshed, and rejuvenated.
Thanks for tuning in to the Vida Spiritual Connection. Please visit our website where you can submit a confidential prayer request. While there, sign up for our weekly email and receive the latest information for Vida events, classes, and meetups. Be sure to subscribe to Vida's YouTube channel, click like, and click the bell to get notifications. You can also find Vida on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We gather for fellowship and prayer with a practitioner via Zoom Thursdays at 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit Vida's website for the Zoom link. It is written, "Where your treasure is, there your heart shall be also." Giving is a spiritual practice. As you bless the world, you are blessed. Your financial contribution to Vida Spiritual Learning Center is an investment in your spiritual education and growth. Your contributions support your spiritual growth and this show, so it's a win-win. Use the link on our website, drop a check in the mail, or Zelle your contribution to 562-928-6460. Thank you for your generous support. Have a wonderful week. See you next time for the Vida Spiritual Connection.